Ariana. Nice to meet you both.
You too.
You.
So, what was it like to approach season 2, and how was that different than approaching season 1?
Donald.
Okay, well, from my perspective, firstly, and Michael can speak to his part of the process. It was stepping into season 2 is really like Billy has firmly become a man now, and he's I'm going to say fully formed, though no human being is ever fully formed, but he's more the Billy the Kid that we know in popular culture at this point. But giving him all the kind of nice shadings and complexities that Michael has afforded us. And we are stepping into a full-blown Western, I would say, more so than season 1. So with all the expectations that you have classically with shootouts and ambushes and the Lincoln County War rolling into town, it's really exciting in terms of the production.
Yeah, so I just I was thrilled with how season 1 turned out. It was an opportunity for me to dig into Billy's background and character, and to show people that he's no pathological killer. He's a really sensitive young guy. He loves his mother. He's had very difficult times. An immigrant family, turning up, eventually being pushed out of New York, turning up into one of the most violent places in America. And I wanted people, before season 2, before the Lincoln County Wars, before all those events that made Billy so famous at the time, I wanted the audience to know who he was, or know a lot about him. And I think we did that. I think it's a great cast. It's a great crew. We achieved that. But I kind of sort of let rip a little bit in season 2, because it is a Western. It's the war is insane. I mean, things happen that shouldn't happen in a way, and are just madness and life was so cheap back then, and it's almost, you can't believe some of the things that happen, but they happened, and that's what I wanted to show people. That's what hey, you Americans, that's what your country was like, not so long ago. And Billy takes a leadership role at that point, and he's only 19, and so it's a different show in a way. It's the same show, but it's transcended itself. I would say we stepped up a number of gears in season 2. The challenges were bigger. Lots of shootouts, lots of action. That presents challenges to the crew. We don't have a studio there. Everything's done moving around all the time on location and everything. So a lot of issues and things, but marvelously dealt with by everyone and the production. But for me, it was important that underneath all the action, underneath the killings and the war, is Billy's character and Billy's morality, and why Billy is doing what he's doing. And that is very important, because apart from anything else, people watch shows because they develop an empathy in the central characters. So I never wanted to lose that for Billy.
Yeah, speaking of Billy and his relationships, him and Jesse obviously have a very hostile relationship, but it seems like they also have like this undying love and loyalty, because they have so many opportunities to kill each other and they don't.
That's right.
How would you kind of describe that relationship? It feels a bit like jealousy sometimes. It feels like friends growing at different paces.
You can't really describe it. That's the wonderful thing. You can't really describe it, because if you say it's love-hate, well, okay, it's love-hate, but that doesn't really describe it. I like to go back to when they first met, when tragedies were already happening to Billy, and he sort of bumps into Jesse, who's probably a couple of years older than he is and really cool. So Jesse is Billy's first role model. you know, and he's a thief and already a criminal and a thief, you know. And for Billy, it's kind of, that's rather romantic. You know, he learns to fire. Jesse teaches him how to fire a gun. And forever afterwards, they're locked together, even though after that, Billy goes in a separate way. He's not like Jesse. You know, he's not like his, you know, he's very moral. He's a totally different character. And yet he's fixated with Jesse, and Jesse's fixated with him. And when they meet up, and they can't stop meeting up, you know, it's fate that happens. You never quite know what's going to happen, but you're right, they somehow can't bring each other to shoot each other. You know, they do have chances to do that, but you know, it's too much of a beautiful relationship. You know?
Yes, Donald, did you want to speak on that at all?
I just, you know, in other ways, I think they are very much alike. You know, that's what I think is fascinating about it, is we all have dualities to our natures, and you know, we all have dark sides and light sides. And I think though Billy channels his dark side differently, he does have a dark side as well, you know. And I think he's fascinated by that in Jesse. I think Jesse is also fascinated with Billy for, you know, his ability to see kind of morally what he thinks should be his guiding principle, and he doesn't really seem to care about that so much. He wants what he wants for himself, but yet he sees and respects that, I think, immensely in Billy, and wishes, in some sense, it might not be conscious, that he could also go in that direction. So they kind of are very intertwined in that way.
Yes. Speaking of another relationship of Billy, so him and Turnstall, Billy kind of looks up to him, but Turnstall looks at him all the time kind of for leadership, like, oh, Billy, what are we supposed to do? How would you kind of describe that bond that they have? Because it's kind of familiar family-wise, but it's also Turnstall leans on Billy a bit more than I think is expected.
Again, it's an interesting and very human relationship. I mean, that's the point I always make about writing historically based material. That the important thing is not the history; it's the fact that it's about human beings. You know, and we should all be able to relate to other human beings. It doesn't matter if they're 16th century, 19th century, or today. And so Billy has a reputation already when he gets to Lincoln, which I think intrigues Tunstall. Tunstall also knows that he needs, he's going to be in a fight. He knows that. So he needs someone like Billy. And he's impressed by Billy when he meets him. And I think because Billy looks so young. He was 19 and he looked probably younger. So this guy, there are wanted posters for him in many states in America. He has a reputation already, and this young kid walks in with a fresh face. You know, he's a good musician. He dances. He's lovely. You know, he's funny. Tunstall really likes him, but he's going to give him responsibilities because of his reputation. He knows all his guys. Look, just go. You know who that is. You know who that is. You know, they've all heard already about this 19-year-old guy. From Billy's point of view, he's found a real father. His own father jumped out of his life, slid out of his life, just left him, you know. And Tunstall says to him, I'm going to make you an honest man, basically. I don't want you to be an outlaw. I want you to go straight. I'm going to share, you know, we'll be partners in this farm, hopefully. And for Billy, that's what Billy's always wanted to hear, because his dream is going straight. His dream is being honest, you know. And so Tunstall becomes the father he never had. You know, he's able to talk to him openly about emotions and things. Tunstall talks to him about his sisters and his relationship with his father and everything. And Billy loves him. There's no two ways about that. Billy loves this guy. And then this guy is shot in the most brutal, horrible, unnecessary way. So poor Billy, you know, who's had this opportunity. The door is open for him, and now it's slammed shut. And he reverts, really. He says, I've got to kill everyone who killed Turnstall, you know. And Dulcinea, his girlfriend, at that time doesn't even understand that. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. You know, walk away from it. Unfortunately, things turn out differently.
Yes. Speaking of Billy, attempting to be Billy the man and not kind of this reckless kid, he encounters Tom, who looks up to him as Billy the kid, and they kind of have a similar background and story. What's kind of like that shaping that relationship, and Billy not wanting him to go down the same path at all?
He just sees someone who's in some ways a mirror image of himself, you know, who's had the same sort of difficulties, and he's not, is a waif and stray. Billy is very sensitive guy, and it's his instinct, you know. I mean, but he's, of course, again, he's torn, because first of all, he says to this guy, you shouldn't be coming here. You know, there's going to be fighting, there's going to be shooting and everything. You really, you know, but then when he hears the guy's story, it's like, but I've nowhere to go. I don't have a home, you know. I would go home if I had a home. And so Billy relents and sort of says, okay, I'll teach you to be a farmhand, you know.
And at different points, I think he sees very much of himself, you know, as a young man in Tom. It's like, we're different points where he says, you know, you should not be involved in this. This is way too dangerous. And Tom says, no, I am involved. I'm in it now, you know, and I'm not going anywhere. And Billy, he knows what he was at that age and sees that kind of same determination. And he says, okay, you know, he knows there's no stopping him, you know?
So at most he can kind of keep him as safe as he can.
Exactly. Exactly.
But thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me. This season is so epic. Every episode is like a movie. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to talk to you guys about this in future projects.
Right.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it, Ariana.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.